terms of what it means to be a man in our society today, I think that's a really complex question because society places lots of different expectations on what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman. You get lots of different messages in literature, in TV, and film. For me, my definition of what it means to be a man, number one is that you're taking care of your responsibilities, whatever they are, whether it's cooking food for yourself, making sure you get your homework done, making sure you're taking care of loved ones. That's a big part for me of what it means to be a man. I think there's also a component of standing up for what you believe in, and if you see somebody who's being treated poorly, if you see somebody who's being bullied, doing what you can to make that situation right.
I think, and I can talk about what I think it means to be a man. I think that, the dilemma, I think a lot of people these days kind of fall into is not really understanding really what manhood is or what it means to be a man. I think I fall into that, right? Like, my dad was either not there or in and out of my life, and so I had to pick and choose what I helped to define what made a man, and it changed, right? Like when I was in school, sometimes I measured like my manhood by the attention I looked for, like the trying to talk to girls, and I based my manhood on a whole bunch of things that really weren't what defines a man. And I think now when I think about what being a man is, I'm kind of humbled because I think that being a man really means truly being able to listen and respond and to continually grow as a person. If you're truly a man, then you realize that you have such a long way before you can actually really grace the title of being a man and taking responsibility and really standing as a man.
If you're being a man, it means to be headstrong and brave, also being a gentleman and mature about something. If you're being a woman, it means to be a respectful woman and have class, meaning to have self-respect and be proper as a woman should behave. You can have fun and do what you want, but always make sure to have a woman inside you.
A man is someone who take care of their responsibilities and work hard. A woman is someone who supports their family and makes sure things are in place.
The way men should treat women is responsible, respectful, independent, and women should always come first. Women should not take advantage of men and be grateful. And they should focus on the future, carry themselves respectfully.
What it means to be a man and a woman is to always find a way to deal with a problem. And
what it means to be a man is that men are supposed to be responsible for their actions and not let anything get in their way. For example, if they were to get anyone pregnant and then they won't take responsibility for that, they'll probably just get coward or walk away. I think men should always be there for what they have to do.
I love this question because I have a definite idea of what I think it means to be a woman, and I think that being a woman is all about strength and quiet strength and power. And one of the reasons that I have come up with this idea of what it is to be a woman is because I had some amazing women role models in my life. In particular, my grandmothers, who were both part of World War II. And both of them have told me stories about how much they sacrificed. And usually when people think of a war, and especially of World War II, they think about men going into war and battling and having courage. But when I listen to their stories, I understand how many women were really the strength behind that effort and were really a force of their own, but just a quieter, more force coming from the inside instead of being the ones actually on the battlefield. So, for example, one thing that I thought about when I heard this question was how my grandmother chose to become a teacher for fighter pilots. So she had never even been on an airplane, but she went and learned about how to fly airplanes so that she could teach the men going off to war how to fight. And she left her family. She had never been away from New York. She went all the way down to Florida where she knew nobody. And she went because this effort was so important to her, and she wanted to do whatever she could to help her country. And so she found that strength within herself to learn something she knew nothing about, and to do something she wasn't comfortable with, and go somewhere she had never been before to help her country. And she was one of millions of women who did the same thing, but they didn't get the same glory and credit that the men got for going off to battle. They just had a quiet strength to them and a quiet power that were a real driving force in making America the victor in the war. And for me, that's always been my image of women, as being the quiet strength behind so many efforts and behind so much amazing work that has gone on in the world.
I think that the definition of a man or definition of a woman is someone that respects themselves and respects others. My mom is my biggest example of a true woman. She's always been there for me 100% of the time. She's super hardworking. She's always dedicated to her children and to her family, and she really is the example for me on how to live a respectful life and how to live as good of a life as I possibly can. So to me, she's a true woman.